Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to our webinar, Implementing an iSeries Tapeless Backup Solution, Virtualizing Backup and Recovery for IBM Power Systems, including IBM AIX and Linux. My name is Axe Signer, Vice President of Solutions here at Electronic Storage Corporation. We are an IBM registered business partner and Microsoft certified partner located in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are a software developer, been in business for over 30 years. And here at our Tulsa office, we have our own programming staff and also our own technical support and customer service staff here in Tulsa. So today's webcast, we're going to do an overview of how to implement a tapeless backup solution for IBM Power System operations. 12 reasons to go tapeless. We'll talk about that. Using tapeless backup instead of or in addition to physical tape. Deduplication to maximize data storage, minimize expense, automatically replicating backups to cloud and or DR site. And we're going to do a quick live presentation of our LaserVault ViTL solution, which is tapeless backup, emulating a tape library or tape device. So 12 reasons to go tapeless. The number one is pretty typical, especially if you're using physical tape, that your backups are basically taking too long to be saved to tape when you could save them to disk and sometimes it cut that time in half in terms of the amount of time that you're spending doing backups. If backups are running too long, they might be tying up business operations. Other priorities can come up that can affect backups. You need to ensure backups are complete. An easier way to archive and purge data. Recovery of data is too slow. That's a pretty big one right there, especially if tapes are not readily available on site. They need to be retrieved. Yes, I just went to this question real quick. Backup can be used as IPL, demode IPL. Yes, you can definitely do that with this product. So recovery data. So you've got to retrieve tapes. If tapes aren't on site, they've got to be recovered from where they're located in order to do restores. I'm going to show you how all of your tapes can be online to recover anytime that you need data. Incorporate a deduplication appliance. This is also pretty important because we do a lot of work with several deduplication appliances in which that is actually used for the storage of iSeries backups, IBM backups, as well as replication and is also data protection. If you're interested in replicating data to cloud or a DR site, just having 2 copies of your backups is key in recovery. With tape, you just have 1 copy. Current solution is too expensive. So if you're using an offsite tape storage facility to store tapes, that's costing money. And strengthen your disaster recovery protections to where you can have other copies, second copies of your backups to recover from rather than just first one single copy. So many companies, including our customers, use tapeless backup as virtual tape for daily, weekly, monthly, incremental, differential backups, and also some use physical tape for long-term archival. So if you do have certain requirements on annual tapes or monthly tapes in which you have a very long-term archival requirement, that could still be stored on physical tape as well as disk. So you have the physical tape for the archival, but you also can have a copy on disk anytime that you need it. So we're going to reduce the frequency of having to manually manage, store, transport tapes. This is going to result in significant time savings for systems and IT personnel. Just plain and simple, it's going to save you a ton of time because now your backups become completely automated and all your restores are readily available because all your tapes are online and available to restore from. So replacing physical tape libraries, ViTL in this particular presentation here, which is our solution, is a virtual tape library emulation software solution. So it's going to replace physical tape library for IBM Power Systems. Now the ViTL software can also be can be implemented into a VMware scenario or Microsoft Hyper-V. So that could eliminate having to provide a server in order to host the VTL emulation software. So going tapeless is really easy because it looks exactly like tape to the IBM system, meaning that the question that popped up was, can I demode IPL from this? Absolutely, because this looks just like tape to the iSeries. You can use any go save command that you're currently using with physical tape. You could use it with BRMS. You could use it with robot save. Option 21, which is your full system restricted state save. And this is not going to require the manual handling of tapes. So it's saving time and reducing risks. So when it comes time to do your backup, you'll know the difference, but the IBM system does not know the difference between saving to virtual tape as compared to physical tape. Just a lot more benefits to saving to virtual. So automated backup and recovery. So automated backup means that tapes are loaded, initialized, prepared, ready to go for every single night's backup. No more manually loading and unloading of tapes, no more manually loading and unloading tape magazines from tape libraries and then having to transport those tapes to an offsite location for disaster recovery. That all can be done automatically because you have disk storage for your tapes, whether that's using a server disk storage or SAN or NAS connection disk storage. So maybe you already have something in place in which you can use to store your backups. LaserVault doesn't care. Our ViTL solution doesn't care as long as it can access that storage. LaserVault ViTL emulates TS3200 from Ultrium 2 all the way to Ultrium 8. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. LaserVault would connect to the iSeries either fiber channel or SAS, just like physical tape connects. If you're using the fiber channel solution, you can have up to 64 virtual devices per fiber channel port, and that can go 8, 16, or 32 gig. Those are the typical speeds that we're using in our solution for connecting the iSeries fiber channel. And then the NPIV provides you up to 64 virtual devices per physical fiber channel port on LaserVault ViTL. And this scenario is really showing a ViTL backup appliance that you're saving to through SAS or a fiber channel connection that can have storage on that appliance, or it can connect to storage. And then replication can give you the ability to replicate from one appliance to another or one server to another, such as a DR site. Tape out means you can copy from the ViTL server to tape and use that tape in an iSeries to do a restore, including a demode IPL if it's a full system save. And then, of course, you've got dupe tape that you can copy from LaserVault to physical tape using your IBM tape drive, or dupe media BRM, those options there to create tapes, copy to tape. Incorporating deduplication and replication. So LaserVault ViTL can be a gateway. It can be the tape emulation for the iSeries side, so that you can either have a virtual tape library or a tape device. But LaserVault, being a gateway solution, can connect to, there are many different deduplication backup appliances that we work with: Rubric, Cohesity, Quantum, Data Domain, NetApp, anything that is on your network that is a deduplication appliance and available to LaserVault. LaserVault can save the data directly to that appliance. So LaserVault ViTL doesn't require any storage, doesn't store any tapes. Those are all accessible from a deduplication appliance. Exagrid is another one of those that we typically work with. And we also have LaserVault ViTL also has its own built-in deduplication feature for deduping data, reducing storage, and also reducing the amount of data that needs to be replicated either to cloud storage or a DR site. Saving backups to cloud. So number one, what you'd like to do here in this scenario is cloud storage for retrieving virtual tapes from that cloud storage anytime that you might need them, whether it be disaster recovery or whether it be a tape that you're archiving to cloud storage and you're not storing locally. It's not used to do many restores, but you might need it. But you're storing also tapes locally. You're writing virtual tapes locally for speed, replicating for cloud storage for disaster recovery and archive purposes. And the replication is a completely automated process that runs as a scheduled task in order to complete replication of data, whether it's compressed, which averages about 5-to-1, or whether it's deduplicated, which can be 10-to-1, as high as 40-to-1 compression for data that's deduplicated. Whether you're compressing it or deduplicating it, it can also be encrypted. So how does it compare to using manual tape? That's pretty simple, really. So first thing I'm going to show you in our product is our web interface for, number one, setting up the configuration of your tape library, or you may have more than one tape library that needs to be defined within LaserVault to present to your iSeries partitions. So in libraries, we have settings such as the library path. So for this library, tape library that's going to be presented to the iSeries partition, has a path for the virtual tapes to be written and for them to be stored. So in this case, we have LaserVault ViTL on a server environment in our data center with a e-volume of disk on that server for storing our virtual tapes. Instead, this could be a path, a network path to external network attached storage or deduplication appliance. You can select either LTO 2, 3, 5, or 8 for your emulation on your virtual tapes. There's two things to note here. None of those affect backup speed. Whether you're using 2 or 8, you're going to run at still much faster than physical tape, but there's no difference in speed between 2 and 8 when you're using a virtual solution. On these tapes, there's no storage limit on these tapes. So there's no Ultrium 5 or Ultrium 8 storage limit. If your backup is 20 terabytes or 100 terabytes, it can all be written to one tape because there's no storage limit. Other settings for speed, such as write cache, read cache. We also have a really kind of special feature here that allows you to write the data for a tape to multiple files at the same time. And that's called the data block file count. And that's set to 8 currently. So yes, we're saving to one virtual tape, but as we're saving, we're actually writing to 8 files at the same time. So this is a multi-thread process to allow you to run your backups even faster than tape, physical tape. Then we have standard coming with the product is compression, averages 5-to-1. We have a license for data deduplication. So this is going to only save blocks of data that have new or changed data. So this greatly reduces the amount of data that you're saving. Minimum 10-to-1 compression, as high as 40-to-1 compression with data deduplication. It also greatly reduces the amount of data that you're replicating, because only blocks that are saved, that have been changed or have new data, are replicated to a second location or cloud storage. Encryption is available. Check the box. Have your encryption key here in this parameter so that it saves and encrypts with using that key, and it would also use the same key for restores. Replication and retention. So replication, I have 3 examples of replication and retention on my test volumes, which is the test, their name. So I have network path. So this might be replicating from one LaserVault ViTL server to another, maybe at a DR site or co-location, or even cloud storage. Also have Amazon S3 replication, Microsoft Azure replication, and we've recently added parameters for Wasabi cloud storage. So let's take a look at some of the parameters for replicating and retention. The first thing that we can do is define which volumes we want to apply these settings. So which tape volumes, and that's typically by a prefix, whether it's some sort of daily, monthly, or weekly prefix on your volumes. You can set those to replicate based on the volume prefix. I have asterisk, which these settings apply to all volumes. Send notifications. So an email address, whether it's an individual email account or a group email account, will get notified when a replication job has started and when it has completed. And if there's any issue with replication, you'd get an email of that as well. So we're going to enable replication. You can also replicate your blank tapes. You can say all volumes, which would replicate any volumes that have been saved to recently that have not been replicated. Or you can do it based on number of volumes, which would be the most recent number of volumes that you'd like to replicate. This is the path in which we're replicating the data, or the tapes, the virtual tapes. Down below here, you have local retention and remote retention. If you are using backup software like Robot Save or BRMS, you probably would not use local or remote retention, but that is available if you want to use that, because BRMS will rotate through expired tapes. Those expired tapes will get initialized during BRMS maintenance and can be reused when they come up in the inventory to be used again. If you're using this as a tape device and you're creating a new tape each night for a backup, set the retention on that tape, enable it based on age or number of volumes. So for a daily rotation, if I'm keeping 10 copies of dailies, I could enable that and store those volumes for 10 copies. Either initialize those or delete those tapes. If I were to reuse those 10 tapes, or if I were to use any of those 10 tapes, then you could just initialize a tape and then load it for the backup, and it'll save to that tape. If you are creating new tapes every day for a backup, then you could just go ahead and delete it off disk because it's reached its retention. Remote retention, we have that separate. So in case there's any particular reason you want to store your remote copy, whether it's cloud storage, DR site, you can set that to where it has a different retention than the local, or it can have the same. If we look at cloud storage, basically what we've done is have in place your cloud storage property parameters, access key, and so forth. So this would be your credentials for the cloud storage account in which to replicate to Amazon S3, Microsoft Azure, Wasabi. So if there was another that you wanted us to add, we could certainly do that. These are just the three that we have currently. So once you have your tape library defined, the number of drives for that tape library, again, for this tape library, we could have 64 drives with one fiber channel connection in LaserVault ViTL, whether it's a gateway to storage that you're using or it has storage on it. Now, if you are using this in a, or if you are interested in using this in a VM solution, then or a VM environment, then for the host server that ViTL resides needs a PCIe slot for a fiber channel HBA or SAS HBA for the iSeries connection, because we connect just like a physical tape device. So all your drives would be listed here depending on how many drives are defined for this tape library. And then your slots are here for all your tapes. We do have customers with thousands of tapes. This can go as high as 16,000 slots. And you can set the number of slots that you want for tapes. Say you need 100 slots. You can always increase that number anytime that you need to for more tapes. So it's virtually an unlimited tape library to where your current tape library, because it is limited for the number of cartridges it can hold in a magazine, you're having to swap out those tapes once a week, once every 2 weeks, however often you have to swap out those set of tapes. This, you don't have to do that because everything is available. All your tapes. You've got some features here like move, so you can move a tape into a drive to restore if you needed to move it manually. Say it's a full system save and you're going to IPL from that tape, just go here and move it into the drive. Being that I'm an administrator, I can also delete a tape, export a tape, which means move it to this path, which is actually cloud storage. You might use this feature if you have a tape that you need to store for 10 years. You don't want to store it locally. You want to store it either at another location, cloud storage, external storage, and that allows you to export that tape. If you click import, any tapes that you've moved out of inventory are listed here. Just check the box, import, and it brings that tape back into inventory. Okay. And then tapes are listed by, you have a volume serial, which is your 6 characters. And so that's the same as a physical tape. If you're using BRMS, once you add the tapes here with create tape at the top, you can say create multiple tape images, go ahead and initialize those, which is the same as doing an INZ tape. Specify how many tapes that you want. It'll create those, and then you can add those into BRMS or have them available in Robot Save. We have protect, so you can set protect on the tape, which means it cannot be deleted, overwritten, or initialized. We have a command on the iSeries that you can set the protect and unprotect on a tape. So you can do that automatically to unprotect it, to save to it, and initialize it, and then use the other command to do a protect on that tape once the backup is complete. And you can also set security for users that belong to groups, and those groups may or may not have some of these features under options, such as delete, export, move, things like that. So just taking a quick look at the iSeries side, LaserVault ViTL can either emulate a tape device. Say you're using the go save commands to do your backup. You're using a CL program, or maybe you're using Go Backup, which can use a tape library or a tape device. So that's just the flexibility of the product to be able to use it either as a tape device, because that may be what you're replacing as a physical tape device, or emulating a tape library. You're replacing a physical tape library, or you're looking at an alternate VTL solution. LaserVault emulates a tape library. This is my LaserVault tape library, TAP MLB V1, TAP V1. So what makes this implementation extremely easy is because your backups do not change. You simply change the tape device that you're saving to or the tape library that you're saving to, add your media. Auto config on the iSeries will automatically configure a device description for your new tape device, and you're ready to go. So that's what makes implementing a VTL solution really simple, is because you get to control everything. All your backups are still controlled from the iSeries, and you have so many additional features. You have so many more tapes available to restore from at any time that you need that data. And even for auditing purposes, the fact that you have those backups to show auditors that you have a second copy for disaster recovery, whether that's on tape, stored off-site or vault, or it's cloud storage or a DR site. You have 2 copies of your backups. Okay, so we'd love to have you take a look at a live online technical demo that we can do with you. You do receive a $50 Amazon gift card for your time in the demo, but this would give us an opportunity to learn about your backup environment for the iSeries so that we can understand how to best configure the solution, whether it's a software solution and you're providing the hardware environment or the VM environment to host that software, to talk about what kind of connectivity that you're going to need, whether you're using a SAS tape device or you have SAS port available on your iSeries or fiber channel, how many fiber channel are needed for the number of tape devices that you want to use or tape libraries, and the amount of data for bandwidth, storage. All of that we can really go over and go in also more detail with technical specifications and answering your questions about how it's going to work and integrate with your backup environment for the iSeries. Got some handouts here on the webinar panel, the GoToWebinar panel, that you can download technical specs, how to integrate virtual tape and tape versus virtual tape comparison. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel, and we'll be emailing you a link to that YouTube recording of this webinar. To learn more about our solutions, laservault.com. We're also listed in IBM Global Solutions Directory. Contact information, info@laservault.com, our 800 number. So I want to thank everyone for taking the time today for this webinar. Let's see if we've got any more questions. While I'm going to check that, we are doing a drawing for Bose Bluetooth earbuds after this session concludes, and the winner will be notified via email. And there is also a size, for the handouts, there's a sizing questionnaire that you can download to complete, because that will give us a better idea of what your requirements are going to be in terms of fiber channel or SAS connectivity, storage for your backups. That way we can provide you with some pricing information on the licensing of our software, any hardware that you might need in terms of hosting that software, fiber channel or SAS, things like that. So that'll get us a good start. For the installation, I didn't really go over installation. What we offer is remote or on-site installation. Most of our installations are done remotely with a remote connection to the server or VM that's provided that's hosting ViTL, because it's really simple to get things started. So 9 times out of 10, we can do everything remotely, including the training, and go over with you how to implement the system. And even if you need help with BRMS, we are experienced in BRMS and can help you with that. Help Systems, if you're using Robot Save, they're very familiar with our solution. They actually have our solution in their test environment. So they're familiar with LaserVault ViTL and how it integrates with Robot Save. Okay, looks like there are no further questions. Thanks everyone for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.